So, hey, greetings, you guys. I know it's been forever, and I don't know that I'm going to make another video after this. I was starting to do the book reviews, but I'm not sure that's sustainable in this point in my life. What do I mean? Well, stay tuned. Okay, if you don't know who I am, I'm Suzanne Titkemeyer. I used to write for a place called Pathos, a column called No Longer Quivering. Currently writing for myself on a Substack titled With Strange Fire, which is the same title as my book about leaving, entering, and then leaving evangelical town. That's the way it is. Number one, don't harass anybody I'm talking about on the video. Nice to show them in the comments. That's the only real rules I have. But I need to talk about something pretty bad that was upsetting that happened yesterday. And something upsetting that happened last month when I was in Louisiana taking care of my mother, my aged mother, getting her into moving her from an assisted living facility to a memory care unit. And it was possibly one of the most traumatic events of my life. Let me tell you guys something, though. Before that, I'm going to do a little thing about the anti KJ community. Not everybody, there's just a little subset of weirdos out there that I routinely have to continually deal with who look upon my every utterance and think it's about them when doesn't have a damn thing to do with them. I had that happen yesterday. I've been teasing for the last couple of days a secret being revealed. I had somebody contact me that said that they were the attorney for a SA victim by a prominent Christian. They said that they were representing them and that they were about to send me more stuff. That happened 3 or 4 days ago. The person is a guy named the person accused of SA is another YouTuber. He runs an apologetics channel, a Christian apologetics channel, and it's kind of sad because I went and looked at his videos, and they're all to do with supporting Zion, the Zionists in Israel, and just saying horrible, untrue things about Muslims. I have no time for that. I think that's crappy if you're doing that. But I teased yesterday that some attorney had contacted me and said that their client was one of the people that he had SA'd when he was younger. When he was 18, he even admits this on his YouTube channel. He SA'd a 13-year-old girl, a 15-year-old girl, among others. This person was claiming that they were the attorney for the 13-year-old. And I was talking to them and teasing it out a little bit yesterday. In trumps Mr. Wolf, Mr. Black Wolf, who I think is possibly one of the most ridiculous people I've ever run across in the anti-community. Him and his little sidekick, Meg. And then the larger sidekick off to the side, Veda Jade. Veda? I don't know. I try not to mention her because of her theft of art. Um, and I try not to mention Meg because we were friends once upon a time. Special to Meg, I was just at Baton Rouge. I mean, just there several weeks ago for over a month. And let's put it this way. I discovered I know people that know you in real life down there, that know you in Baton Rouge. And I heard all kinds of interesting rumors about you that I'm not about to report here. So you guys just need to knock off whatever it is you're doing. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. But the thing I care about it is that yesterday, Mr. Black Wolf took several of my tweets that were about the David Wood situation, the religious, the guy from the apologetics channel that admitted to having essayed a 13-year-old on camera, admitted it repeatedly, and thinks it's no big deal because now he's a Christian and he has some kind of personality disorder. that he can't show remorse, he said, some kind of sociopathy, and we're all just supposed to nod our heads and give him a pass. I don't believe in that. I believe that there has to be repentance. You have to at least try to make a slight bit of trying to take something to that person and saying, "Hey, I'm sorry about that." If there's no remorse and you're not contacting the victim to tell them that you're sorry, then you're just a horrible person. So I was teasing that yesterday, and Wolf decided that it meant that I'd flipped on somebody and told a bunch of secrets. Black Wolf, you are so wrong. You just don't even know. I laughed so hard all afternoon and evening reading the stuff you said because it is utterly 100% not true. This is not. And if I had a Bible handy, I would swear on it. But it's not true. You've grabbed the wrong end of the stick like you usually do. So please stop exposing your ignorance. You and David Wood, cut from the same cloth, I think. Both of you doing things that aren't so good or refusing to take any responsibility. You've been kicked off X so many times now, it's ridiculous. And I just got tired of listening to you and propping your stupidity up. And that's why I turned against you because I was just kind of done with that. Kind of done with this. I don't think I'm going to be doing this anymore. Maybe I'll feel different in a month or a year or whatever. There's a redheaded woodpecker out there. It shows you how ADD I am. So you just need to knock the hell off. Knock off claims of this one doing this one and that one doing that one. You know what those of us who left the community are doing? Living our lives! Living our lives! Living our lives! Sweet freedom. Freedom! To quote Jason Upton, whose music I absolutely adore. Okay, so that's it. Coda. And I owe Manya and Cheshire an apology because I saw that another YouTuber had accused them both of living in their parents' basements, and someone corrected me and said they don't live in their parents' basements. So I'm sorry I went along with the comedian, but it was a funny talking point. See, so that's how you do it, David Wood. You apologize when you know you've done wrong and you do better. You try to make it up to that person in some way, shape, or form. And that starts with admitting that you got it wrong. It really does. So why am I dressed like this? Twofold. Now that I've gotten that stupidity out of the way. Something happened to me in Louisiana the last time I was down there. This is the outfit I wear when I am cleaning. It's my Elsie's plate and pie purple bandana. I usually put the hair up in a bun and I completely cover my hair. I picked that up from a pulmonologist that I know of so that when I clean, completely cover my hair, I wear my mask and I wear goggles over my glasses. And I immediately get in the shower and strip off everything when I'm done because of my severe asthma. And I am having a bout right now. As you can hear, my voice is really jacked up. So that's another reason why I don't have time for it. Elsie's. If you ever get to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Elsie's Plate and Pie on Government Street is out of this world. I absolutely love their pies and po' boys and everything else they make. So this is my I'm cleaning outfit. I've got my Rooted in the Community t-shirt that I bought. Let me turn around and show you. At least some of it. T-shirt bought at the local co-op in Maryland, near where my kid's house is, and I absolutely love it. But I wear it when I clean because I usually don't wear baggy t-shirts like this. This is just not my jam. So I was cleaning when I got there last time, because when I go to my mother's very dusty, big old haunted mansion of a house, one of the first things I have to do is just DI the hell out of everything. I have to get rid of all the dust. I have to scrub the bathrooms. Just the usual things that you would do. I even take down the living room curtains and the curtains in the bedroom nightstand and wash them and rehang them every time I come because I'm not about to make my asthma worse. So when I was in Louisiana recently, wearing this outfit, cleaning my mother's house, my aunt called me and she was having kind of a mini crisis, and there was a mini crisis with my mother who had fainted, and it was awful. So what I had to do was just drop my scrub brush and run and to be my aunt at the assisted living where my mother lived. In my I'm cleaning the house clothing. So here I'm driving down the highway in her expensive sedan, and I get pulled over. I get pulled over. And the officer won't tell me what I've done. What he tells me is that once I hand him my passport, my driver's license, the Costa Rican one, the Virginia one, the international ones I've had, once I hand him a driver's license, a passport, proof of registration, he looks at me and says, "Dang, I thought for sure that you were an illegal immigrant because you're darker, you have bandana on your head, and everybody I see wearing a bandana in broad daylight in Louisiana is usually either a hipster, and you're not a hipster, or they're an illegal immigrant." And you're not light, you're olive. But I have the super Anglo-Saxon maiden name. My first name is French and my last name is German, so we got the international spread going on. And he looked at that, looked at me, and said, "Dang, I thought you were an illegal immigrant. I was getting ready to detain you and call ICE." And I was like, "Nope, sorry. I am just an American citizen. I was born here. I lived here the first 28 years of my life in Louisiana, and then almost 30 in Virginia, with a stint living in Europe for like 3 or 4 years. And now I live in Costa Rica. So that's why my passport has 10 zillion stamps in it." So I drove away and I was shaking because who wants to get, you know, pulled over and told well, I wanted to turn you into ICE. And now I know that ICE is in New Orleans. They're in my old hometown, my stomping grounds, trying to pick up illegals. And it's kind of funny because in Louisiana, the population of immigrants in New Orleans is primarily Vietnamese. When the fall of Saigon happened, the government relocated a lot of them to Louisiana. I went to school with a guy who was just fresh off the boat. Nice guy, liked him a lot. Sat right behind me in biology, well, advanced biology, I should say, not even regular biology. And I went over to his house many times to eat. So I'm very freaking out about that right now. It makes my heart hurt. They're targeting these people. The Vietnamese that have arrived in Louisiana immediately started trying to assimilate. Immediately. And they own businesses, they're tax-paying residents. So I'm freaking out right now for New Orleans. So stay safe there. And the other thing I wanted to talk about was part of my sojourn to my mother's house, a haunted mansion with a room full of haunted dolls. Oh, and I discovered it has mold. So I had to call a guy to do a mold remediation. One of the things that I get every time I come there is letters from a certain political party begging for money. Just begging, 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 begging. My mother's late husband was very much a Republican, spent a ton of money on crap like the NRA, the GOP, and anybody who approached him. Apparently, my mother was doing the same. So I would get there I got there one time after 3 weeks, and I had a grocery bag full of come ons from the Republicans. Every Republican you can think of. Since Charlie Kirk's death, I've gotten a flood of them, at least two or three a week, signed by Erica Kirk, auto pen, begging for money um for TP USA, Turning Point USA, which my mother was an agnostic, and there's no way in hell she would have given a penny to Erica Kirk. So I don't know how Erica got here her name for her grand grift, because I really believe Erica is grifting. It's tragic what happened to her husband. She was grifting for all she was worth shortly thereafter, and I have no respect for that. But this particular letter just made me laugh my rear end off. So I'm going to share it with you guys before I shred the damn thing and throw it away. Okay. Except I'm kind of an idiot. I can't figure out. Am I missing a page? I must be missing a page. Oh, yeah, I am. It's right here. Sorry. Senator John Kennedy, the guy who is the senator where she lives. She lives in his district. She lives right down the street from where he went to high school. That's how local this guy is. He made me laugh during the government shutdown because he was the only one that said if nobody else was getting paid, they in Congress and the Senate didn't need to get paid either. They need to hang on to their checks. So that was possibly the only good thing I've seen this idiot do. So I'm going to read you this letter because it's making me laugh. The energy is just absolutely insane. And then I got to show you what came with it. Hello there, Mrs. Bottomless Babs. That's our nickname for my mother. I don't like the looks of this. Our majority in the U.S. House of Representatives is as thin as a frog hair. Frogs don't have hair. Oh my gosh. This guy's out to lunch. And that's not a Southernism I've ever heard before either. We just lost the first five special elections held after November of 2024, already putting us behind. I wouldn't say I'm panicked just yet, but I'm getting there. Dude, you should panic your ass off. When you look at the lay of the land, we're up against it. Yes, you are. And a blue wave is about to roll over your ass. I wouldn't, yeah. So he lists little PowerPoints. The party is in power almost always loses seats in the midterm elections. We can't afford to lose one seat. Democratic fundraising is picking up steam as we look towards 2026. Too many Republicans seem to think that electing President Trump in 2024 was enough. Well, damn, the economy is in the toilet. I was shocked to see how much food cost in the States, including my beloved community coffee. I always bring food back from the States. I bring spices, I bring things that can't be obtained here. This time I didn't bring any community coffee because it was incredibly, insanely overpriced. I can tell you right now, here, right here, and right now, that this sort of thinking is a recipe for disaster because Democrats are only good at two things. One, ruining countries. Wait a minute, I thought that was women that the patriarch said we were ruining the country. So now liberals are ruining the country too. Number two, winning elections. Winning free and fair elections. Dude, that's not even a horrible thing. I can tell you right here, right now, repeating yourself again, that this sort of thinking is a recipe for disaster because Democrats are good. Oh, man, I'm stupid. I'm sorry. I had to go back on Benadryl, and that is making me goofy as hell, and I don't like it. Holding on to those seats we fought so hard for in 2024 is going to be a battle and an uphill climb. Mrs. Bottomless Bar Babs, and here's why. Unlike the Democrats, we conservative Republicans don't get hours and hours of adoring press coverage from MSNBC and CNN. Well, I don't know. They both talk about Trump a lot. You are getting a lot of free coverage. Unlike the Democrats, we conservatives have the best morals. We don't have Hollywood celebrities telling their bubble-headed, bubble-headed followers to vote for us. That's just utterly ridiculous. And we don't have billionaires like George Soros pouring billions of dollars into our campaigns. No, you have Elon Musk doing that. You have Peter Thiel doing that. You have so many of these millionaires, billionaires that put your guys in power right now. A ton of money went into it. We need to overturn Citizens United in this country in the worst way to stop all this nonsense and this stupid, endless fundraising. That's why, as much as I'd love to spend more time duck hunting and less time raising money in the months to come, I just can't. Well, let us all pray that the next time this idiot comes up for re-election, that the people in the great state of Louisiana grant his wish and give him endless duck hunting and do not return him to Washington. I hate how they're always trying to work people for money, but them trying to work old ladies with dementia is the worst. And I want to talk about the dementia a little bit when I'm done with this. Where was I? There are just too many congressional races on the calendar in 2026 that could take us back into the fever dream of Democratic leadership that we woke up from in November of 2024. You didn't sleep in or something? Heck, golly gee, by the time you read this letter, our slim House majority may be gone from your ears to God's lips. Do you realize what losing Congress is going to mean? I don't even want to think about it. That's all right. Don't text your brains. Shut up. But we've got to do more than just think about it. We've got to do everything we can to not only build a hedge of protection around the seats we're holding to. Okay, that hedge of protection crap is straight out of evangelical Christianity, where you pray a hedge of protection around things like, it's like, example, your neighbor is pesky and bothering you and causing you significant distress. You might pray a hedge of protection around your home and a hedge of thorns around them. That's the kind of voodoo, magical thinking some of them do. But to take as many out of the hands of these radical Democrats as we possibly can next year. This is the reason I started Common Sense for America PAC, Political Action Committee. Political action committees are some of the worst ideas in the world. They're used to funnel money to idiots like this to get them elected. And I just have to say right now, Marjorie Taylor Greene, I like her now. She has woken up and smelled the coffee and knows what's going on. I don't agree with her on everything, but I think it's a really good start. And I'm really happy that she, an empty headed girl from Colorado, caught giving this to a strange man in the theater, and Nancy Mace. I'm grateful for all three of them for standing with the victims of Epstein. Okay? It's a hard thing. And to buck the entire Republican Party and their fundraising arm is huge. Look, in a perfect world, the best ideas and best candidates will always win. Mrs. Bottomless Babs, I don't know if you've turned on your TV or looked out your window lately, but we are definitely, most definitely not living in that perfect world. She doesn't even know how to use a remote anymore. The memory care is so bad, so that's not happening. And if she looks out her window, she's just going to see park-like environment and bird feeders. This world, as much as I hate to say it, money can play a big part in who wins, who loses, and who controls the power of the government. That's why I'm asking for a contribution to Common Sense for America PAC from you and about 50,000 other American patriots today. But for me, but for those committed conservatives, this is a multi-page letter, out there who are going to need our help. They may not live in your district. You may not even know their name. They may not have even thrown their hat into the ring yet. But if we can come alongside enough of these candidates in the months leading up to the next round of elections, we could not only keep our slim House majority and build it into a bigger one, giving Donald Trump the power to get every single item on our conservative wish list in during the second half of his term, and giving the radical left a bad case of loser. We're all doing the hard work to ensure that your so many dollar contribution has an exponential impact on the upcoming elections. The 2024 elections were our first go at this, and we were able to play a critical role in taking back our country. Oh, brother. I've got good people here who work really hard to turn this contribution into a devastating weapon against the weirdos running to take our House seats away. I love how he brands all Democrats weirdos. That is hysterical. I don't really like the Democratic Party either, but they're not sending me this crap. So that's a win right there. I've always been more the independent voter, but I hate when people will do this manipulation thing. And that kind of goes back to what I was talking about with the anti community. They like to manipulate the hell out of people. Okay. I don't know how they do it, but they have a proven formula they use to figure out where, when, and how much to contribute for the maximum impact. It's a numbers game, bottomless Babs, and we've got to win it in 2026. Will you help? Be so ever so incredibly grateful if you would. Will you offer a one-time contribution to Common Sense for America PAC right now before it's too late? One last thing, all in caps and bold font. And this is really important. I was always taught you don't get something for nothing. That's why I'm offering something of great value in return for your one time gift. Mentions amount. Common Sense for America PAC today. This imperfect world is occasionally made just a little more bearable for me when I sit down with a bowl of Mama's gumbo. Gumbo is a big thing in Louisiana. We keep that shit seriously. We take it seriously. Whether it's worth a gift to Common Sense for America, that is up to you to judge, bottomless Babs. And I don't know how much gumbo you all eat out in your town, but I can tell you this. Be careful who you invite over to share it with, because they're going to want to come back around a lot more. It just goes on and on and on. And it says at the bottom, P.S. The Federal Election Committee allows you to send as much as $5,000 to a PAC like mine. And it's up to you how much to offer today. It goes on and on and on and on about giving, 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 giving. Please give anything. Nobody up yours. Gifts start at $50 to 5,000. Again, up yours, buddy. It's not happening. But here's the thing that just made me laugh my ass off when I opened this up and I started looking at it. It's a Louisiana gumbo recipe card. So I've taken a good look at it. I've made gallons of gumbo in my time. I love gumbo. I don't make it here because it's hard to get okra. When the farmers market has okra here, I make gumbo and fried okra, something I love. So start looking at this and going, hmm. And it's what I call a very mediocre gumbo recipe. I would serve this to the relatives I hate, relatives I don't like, I should say, because I don't hate any of them. I do have some that are squirrely and hard to deal with through my mother's various confloptions. I wouldn't even feed them this crap. To feed Donald Trump this crap. I have a better recipe than that, dude. So, it's my little performance of the Republican thing that just made me laugh the hardest because it was the most inventive and the stupidest one at the same time. Hallelujah. Praise Jesus. Okay, so what have I been doing? I've been going back and forth a lot. The last time I went to Louisiana, I'd only been home in Costa Rica 3 days. 3 days! Just long enough to do laundry and mop the floor. That was about it. And make sure the dishes were all done. And I had to go right back. And I was there for over a month. Before that, I'd been there for 3 weeks. Before that, I'd been there for like 6 weeks. So it's a crazy amount of time I'm having to spend in Louisiana. And I don't like it. First of all, there's Exxon with all their toxic chemicals and things they're spewing in the air. I do love the people there, black, white, brown, whatever. They all will treat you right. They're very friendly. I have people trying to help me all the time from all races, so I'm pretty happy with that. They do have more manners there for some reason. Manners are pushed into us from an early age in the Deep South by our mamas. So my mama started some really bizarre behaviors that have led to me going back a bunch of times. In assisted living, she wouldn't leave her room, she wouldn't leave her apartment. And then one day she showed up in the atrium, and I'm smiling because it's a funny story. She was dusting the grand piano in the buff. Nudie Rudy. Her behavior had shifted from beautiful Southern Belle to I'm running around with no pants on to now I don't wear clothes. So the facility said she had to go. They were not allowing me to keep her there unless I had round the clock nursing. It took me about a month to arrange to get her somewhere else and actually get her there. So I had to pay for a month of around the clock nursing care. It was $22,000 a month on top of the 4,500 I was paying for her apartment in the assisted living. So I found myself spending some major bucks lately for all kinds of really stupid reasons, but that to me was the silliest. Even though I did enjoy some of the nurses, some of them were some really awesome people that I'm glad I met. But when I moved my mother to the actual memory care unit, my aunt and I picked it out. It's very nice. There was no smell of urine. It was beautifully maintained. It's a beautiful place in a different way than the place she just came from. This was more like a southern mansion on the inside than a nursing facility. So I moved her there. There was immediately all kinds of drama because she fell out of bed and gave herself two black eyes, a giant goose egg there, and cut herself a couple places on her face that had to have stitches. One of them very near her eye. She damn near lost her eye. And So we dealt with that. We lowered her bed to make that a little easier and put some firmer boards underneath. And yes, I was running around buying furniture for her that would fit into her new situation there in memory care. She was the most cantankerous I've ever seen. She was chewing me out, telling me I was cheap. I don't know about you, $22,000 a month is not cheap. So she said I was a cheap person, which, to be fair, I am very thrifty. I always have been. I always will be. There's things like art supplies I'll spend a tremendous amount of money on, and there's other things I will too, but not on everything. My husband can tell you, I even go to Price Mart or the local store down here, and I'm very price conscious of all of that. You have to be in this economy, particularly if you live in the US and those high grocery prices, those insane grocery prices are in play. I want y'all to tell me in the comments, how are you buying groceries right now? I mean, I wasn't even buying anything fancy, canned soup, some frozen dinners, and it was just insane. I was looking at the prices going, sticker shock. So I did that and kept going back and forth every day, every day, every day, the hospital to here. It was a lot. It was so much that I called my husband and asked him to come join me to help me out. So my mother called me cheap. She threatened his life. That was kind of interesting because she's 91 pounds soaking wet. And it was just a very bad thing. So I would encourage you, if you are older like me, make plans for yourself. Make plans for yourself when you're going into a place and what needs to happen and get it legally notarized. I'm about to do that myself here because I don't want my kids to have to deal with this situation. I don't want them to have to fool with it at all. So I'm going to outline the steps because the sad truth is nobody tells you what to do to navigate when your parent needs memory care or even just assisted living. It is quite the big deal. It was quite difficult. So between things I got going on in my life, things I'm still working on, paintings I'm still doing, this nonsense that some are spewing is just utterly ridiculous. And I wouldn't doubt that there's some karmic realignment coming for some of those people. I don't want to get anywhere near them because I don't want to get struck by lightning. So, friends, be careful out there. Be careful. Make sure your wishes are known and just go from that. All right. I'm going to go. I am fooling with my orchids today. That's why I'm like this. I'm dressing. I'm dressing in my cleaning clothing, but I'm working on my orchids because they were sadly neglected while I was gone. My orchids and my bonsai trees. So that's my deal for today. And trying to get all my new lawn furniture up onto my new reading deck. I bought some beautiful teak wood furniture. And I don't want to have to think about assisted living, Louisiana, nursing care, none of that for a while. I need a break. And so I'm hoping I don't have to go back home for 6 or 8 weeks, that I can get away with being here because I think my mother will settle in. That was the other thing. If you have to put your family members in something like this, give them time to settle in. I hopefully when I go back, I won't be getting accusations of being cheap. She thinks that the place she's at costs a lot less. It costs more than double where she was. So that's not even something that's in play. She seems to think it is, but I've told her repeatedly it was more expensive. The other place kicked you out through dusting. And about the new dusting, I do have to say this, okay? When I put her into memory care, one of the things she said was, why are you doing this? I said, because the other place said I had to do this because they don't want you there anymore in assisted living because you need memory care. And I didn't point out to her that when they did a social worker and psychology psychologist came in and did the evaluation for the home, that they asked her things like what year it was. She said it was 1900. They asked her name. She didn't know. She didn't know her birth date. She didn't know my name. She didn't know my aunt's name. She's just gone. And I don't know why the progression happened so rapidly, but she had really rapid onset with this. So when we put her in there and she started shrieking about how we were doing this to save money, I was just like, none of that. We're not saving any money. We're paying more than double. And she said, well, why would they kick me out? I said, nude dusting. We'll do that. If you nude dust and you're living in assisted living, they're going to tell you to take a hike. Funny story about that. When I told the neighbor across the street, we told him what was going on. He said, Barbara never ran around naked living here. And I was like, you act like you were eager to see that. Trust me, it's not that thrilling. So when I told her that, she said, you're lying. I said, no. Did you witness it? No, but I know plenty of people who did, including my aunt. So I know it's true. I said, well, what's wrong with being naked? So there's nothing in this world wrong with being naked if you're in your room or your apartment or your house. Your curtains aren't open to the whole wide world, and you're there, not in a public space. Nudity in public spaces is problematic. It's against the law in a lot of places, and most of all, is not safe for you or anybody else. And she started yelling, BS, BS, but not the initials, but the actual thing. And I kind of laughed and said, you can't run around naked. I'm sorry. You're going to have to wear clothing from now on. This place is not clothing optional. No place is clothing optional except maybe your bedroom. Or when we lived in Germany, they used to have nude spas. I went to one of them one time. Not my thing. I got tired of seeing wrinkly and large bits floating around. We're not, it was just too much of a sticker shock for me. I couldn't handle it. But I know that some people can. Now, if there's anything wrong with that, be as naked as you want to be. So I'm rambling. I could tell the Benadryl and the other stuff they gave me that they had to put me back on is doing a number on me. I hate that, but what hope do I have? Not much as far as my health unless I do what they're saying. And to the drugs they had me on before were starting to affect my memory. So I don't want to end up in memory care. Even though I will say this, I had the most fun afternoon with all those people in memory care playing bingo with it. I played bingo like a fiend. And I could stand a life where I played bingo and they served me my beautiful meal and delicious meal at a dining room table, and I had unlimited books and various things like that. I could very well retire to that and be happy, happy, happy. Okay, you guys, love you all, but I'm not sure that I'm coming back to YouTube. I just wanted to explain to you guys everything that was going on right now. And when I was mentioning the David Wood situation, I have to say I was writing about it. I was writing about it for my Substack with Strange Fire because of his admitted essay of children and his lack of repentance, remorse, which kind of blows my mind because when I screw up, and I screw up left, right, center, everybody does. It's just if you can admit it, grieve over it and move on. That's really the secret, I think. So that's what I did. Breathe in, breathe out, move on after crying a few copious tears. Um, this whole situation, my mother is done a number on my nerves. That's another reason why I'm not coming back to YouTube anytime soon. I'm still reading. a lot of interesting books. Some of them I may come back and talk about, but at this moment, it's just not happening. I need to rest and I concentrate on my family and my home right now for a while. Like I said, love you guys. I'm gonna go. Um, and sound off in the comments if you'd like about, especially about this groceries, because I'm still trying to figure that out. And there's a lot that U.S. Media does not talk about. They do talk about the price of things. They're not talking about some of the other things. The stuff they're saying about Venezuela is absolutely not true. Chavez is trying his darndest to get along with Trump, and it's not working. So I'm going to go ahead too and link to that because I've been watching this unfold from Costa Rica, and I believe that most of Central America is going to line up with Maduro if Trump starts a war with Venezuela. And it would hurt gas prices tremendously because Venezuela is holding the third largest oil reserve in the whole wide world, untapped, untapped, various places, and which oil companies down there right now. One of the big major ones is down there, and they're trying to access it right now. So between the cartel lies, because it's a lie, there's drugs in Venezuela, most definitely, just like there is all over the world. But it's not like he's saying about the boats that are running the drugs. That is a complete and utter fib. It pays to look at outside reporting because what in the US you're getting is a very sanitized, untrue version of a lot of things. Okay, I'm really going to go this time. Yeah, I know I'm rambling. I know I'm rambling. Just call me the mouth from the south that rambles.